All right, first 3 seconds to capture somebody with high energy and go. Welcome to the Toast of the Weird podcast. There should have been an intro before this, but there's not. So, hooray! What's on this episode other than the screaming cicadas in the background? If there are. If I get that editing software and I actually put this plane together, there will not be, and I'll just sound like a fool. But that's okay, too.
Nothing to do with the region you can identify that we're producing this information from.
Right? Well, I was listening to last week's episode and it just bothered me. I was like, how can I get rid of that? And then I was like, oh yeah, get some software engineering skills. So there's that.
Skill it up.
Spotify is still where we can be found most of the time. Thank you, Spotify, for that. But, you know, we're branching out, getting better. Maybe we'll be on a couple more platforms here soon. The video thing, the YouTube video thing, I don't know. I got a face for radio, not necessarily one for video, but
you say that, but the whiskers hide a lot. It's
that they do.
One gentleman talked about, he's like, you want to up your game? He's like, just grow a beard. It covers up 40% of your face.
That was an Alex Hermosi, and then he's like, wear the hat and then put on sunglasses, so 100% of your identity is concealed. But with today's AI.
You're not running from AI. You're running from or hiding from other people or trying to blend in the sheeple background. Thank you, William Cooper.
I don't want to be noticed. I just want to be famous.
I don't want to be famous. I just want to have wealth. No, okay. I want to be slightly wealth famous. There you go.
Slightly wealth famous?
Yeah, like enough that like...
So you want to be the Jay Waller as opposed to the Andrew Tate? Is that what you're telling me?
Maybe not even that high up. What's the cousin's name?
I don't even know what the cousin's name is. Good point. Yeah.
Exactly. He's like one of the key people involved in it, and they talk about how he's a genius. And I got his face in my mind, and he's done some clips, and I've seen some stuff. One of them was something looked like he was rock climbing, or he was instructing other people about rock climbing or something.
Okay.
Exactly. We don't even know his fucking name. Yeah, that's who I want to be.
I saw a video with that guy, and Tate was like, this dude's ruthless, because he'll go into the chat for his class or the whatever that is, and he'll be like, this person hasn't, I've put him on mute for 8 months. Nobody's noticed, and he hasn't really complained about it, so he's gone. He's fired. See ya. Done. Just that heartless. That guy is that heartless.
I mean, realistic.
Or gangster.
If whatever. It was 8 months, that's obviously some dead weight. You have nothing to contribute, or...
You've contributed nothing. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, speaking of AI, what have you, did you see that? I sent you that prompt for the show, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask AI right now if they will pull up the prompt, and we'll see what's gonna happen.
Wait, no, didn't I read that? Yeah, and I was like,
I did read that. And you're like, I would love it. It's the one with the cute AI overlord thing.
Oh, wait, you're talking about the different, prompt. No, I didn't say cute, but you had the little baby skull.
Self-portrait request.
There you go, yeah.
There it is.
It was in, okay, there was one where it was like, I was a half dog man, and there's another one where I was just a dog, and there was like a fat dog. I guess like a husky. It looked like a wolf that got on a Twinkie diet is what it looked like. I won't lie. It had a lot of rolls. And then you look like you were just a skull with arms. And then you look like a lumberjack skull. Something about the beanie and a certain way the beard comes across makes it remind me of a lumberjack.
It does, too. It looks very lumberjacky. It's very hipster. It's very hipster friendly.
Kind of.
Yeah, well, I just want to have us be in that alternative space, too. Because this is literally what we talk about as being the alternative to the mainstream. Mainstream being get your 9-to-5 job, make your Excel spreadsheets, go home, eat dinner. I'm
don't mind the golden handcuffs.
Out of that. Yeah, don't mind the golden handcuffs. I'm so over that.
The more and more I look into our modern arrangement of labor, the more it disgusts me.
It is kind of sad.
Well, I mean, just the idea that we don't even get to decide how much vacation time or sick time, and these things are privileges that, as a worker, and it's just how unbalanced everything is. I mean, you literally could not function without the worker, but yet all of the proceeds and as us in a society.
Goes to the owners, yeah.
We're just perfectly fine with shoveling all this wealth up to the top. It's just
it's not even that. It's that people are so focused on their own debts that they just don't have time to think about that bigger picture going on, to tell you the honest truth. There it is, dude. Oh my gosh, that's nuts.
It's the random non-collectivism. If literally
individualism, it's the rugged individual.
Everybody in America or whatever's going on just decided in one day to stop the system, it wouldn't function. It would have to change it. Like literally, like the voting with dollars premise.
Yeah.
If everybody stopped going to blank corporation for just one day, that corporation would respond.
You know, a few years ago, there was this whole, like, the debate on whether or not they should pay back the student loans. And I was just like, just don't pay your student loans. If everybody didn't pay their student loans, it would crumble. The whole thing would crumble.
Well, see, this is, you know, and some people may not like this, but what I don't think is fair is that you borrowed money, you did something with it, and it's just going to get wiped away. No.
Okay, so
what I think is fair is, cool, you borrowed this much money, cool, no more interest. What did you actually do? Like, first of all, what did you do with it? Because if you just got a loan to go get I'm not trying to pick on anyone in particular here, but if you got some sort of worthless degree and you turned right around and didn't even use the fucking thing, is that as much urgency as someone who went out to go into healthcare and provided all that service, and that's what they've done for the last 10 years, you know? I mean, like, totally different. Totally different.
Other side of that argument is it okay for Wendy's or Yum Brands, let's just put that out there, Yum Brands, to borrow a boatload of money? Oh, the banks. Let's go with the banks. That's okay. A better example. Let's go with the banks that are too big to fail, that got a loan from the government to wipe away all of their debts. Mm-hmm. Is that fair?
No.
That's exactly what happened.
And they didn't get a loan.
They didn't get a loan. They legitimately had Uncle Sam pay all of their debts and wipe all of that away. But in the process, their business is lending money. Their business is to sell you debt.
It's crazy how the people who, like, hey, I ran this grocery store. I completely fucked it all up, ran it in the ground, and my nephew was stealing, and my niece was taking all the money and buying cocaine with it. Mm-hmm. Oh, thanks. You're just going to give me a bunch of money so we can go back to doing what we were doing? Thanks. Whose money was that? Oh, the people that are coming in here to buy the groceries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Robin Williams has this great bit, rest his soul. He has this great bit where he's talking about how he, like, just had some liquidity issues, man. And he makes it sound like it's some, like, crackhead / cokehead, meth head, whatever you insert latest druggie here. I just need, like, $2 billion to get me through to the next time. And then he goes to the next time and he's like, I swear it won't happen again. I know you just gave us $20 billion, but, like, can we get like 40 more? Like, where does it stop? That's the same thing. Why the fuck are we bailing out these banks? Oh yeah, sorry. Don't want to do that. But we're not, like, bailing out the people who are actually into debt. Like, is it their fault that they did not have enough of an education about their borrowing habits, so they were just put into debt for that bullshit degree that they thought that would be, a life-changing event? Where do we draw the line? We do bail out banks. We have bailed out banks. We had to bail out the banks. They were too big to fail. We just couldn't let them fail.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't let we can let the people fail. Like, oh, sorry, fuck you.
Hey, we sent every single one of you a check for a couple $100 that you literally just turned right around and gave back to the people who fucked you over.
I love it. There was a precedent set back in 2002, 2003, where George W. Bush sent us all $500, and that was an economic stimulus. So that way they could send us another $2,000 during the pandemic. What?
Honestly, what's really funny is if you really and this is what gets me about high up economy and, the people who run everything. Because at the ground level, to me, I'm just like, if you would have given everyone 10 grand, if you would have just given every person 10 grand, right? Just on their bank account, you don't even need to send them a check or, whatever, right? Get person's name checked off or whatever. We all know what would have happened. The same thing with those couple $100. You know what I mean? Like, is there really any point in, like, crumb feeding us the fucking food that we needed at the time.
It all floats to the top anyway. All that money floats to the wealthiest 1% anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, it just bothers me how they're like, oh, we couldn't afford this. I'm like, you're all just doing numbers on the computer anyway, talking about how we couldn't afford anymore, or this billion was enough billion. I'm like, just throw another 200 billion in there. Why? Because it's all made up money. It's all monopoly money. We don't even need to print it. That's what's just fucking hilarious. Is 98% of all of our money is digital anyway.
Yep.
So they talk about this printing money shit, and it's, not in reality we're physically printing money, but yeah, you shovel more money in the economy.
Yeah. Here's a crazy idea. Let's just stop taxing shit all the time. There's a great stimulus for you, because all that money is going to float to the top anyway. People are still going to be financially illiterate, which I highly advise people go get financially literate, because not only is it another language, it's a fucking weapon.
Ooh, Wayne, that is beautiful.
It is. It's another language that's used as a weapon. The pen is mightier than the sword, but man, that banknote is worth 1,000 pens. So
that's beautiful.
Get on it. I know, right? Like, hello, welcome to the podcast that nobody listens to except for Joe Rogan.
He's at home taking notes.
Hold on, we have to put on a tinfoil hat so that way the CIA and ASA M4 don't come after us for saying crazy shit like taxation is theft.
No, see, we got to up our game. They're not saying anything that we haven't either disproven through loony, talk of conspiracy theory, or that someone else they're puppeting hasn't already said. We got to get something really, really juicy for them to notice. We're like a threat level 0.
We are threat level 0.
We're on the threat level, but we're
Somebody at the NSA is like, I love the Toast of the Weird because it'll never be big, and I'm just gonna throttle their bandwidth and exposure.
I don't think so. I think just for the fun of it, he'd be like, let's just see how this, he snoozes on it. He's like, yeah, back burner that. 2 years later, he comes back. He's like, what? High priority? Oh, shit, that was on my desk.
Next thing you know, one of us dies. It's like, oh, my God, the host of the Toast of the Weird. And everybody went, what? The who? Oh, yeah, it was this famous podcast by 94 million people. Why didn't I ever listen to it?
Womp, womp,
and then all of our episodes get edited down to all the tinfoil hat stuff. None of the fucking did you know that the Federal Reserve is just making digital currency out of thin air, and Bitcoin was the answer to that because it has a finite resource? Oh, wait, but economics is a weapon and nobody's financially literate. So, keep buying your shoes on credit. It's the American dream. Did I just hit you right in the pride right now?
No, it kind of looks hurt. No, it's perfect. Really what it is if I was armed with the information and knowledge that I have right now when I was 18. Dude, it's not even like it's massive knowledge either. It's this, some shuffling of the cards. If I would have known not to close any credit cards, if I would have known to keep open that premium life insurance policy that my insurance agent made me do when I was 18 that I closed later on, just so many different things.
Yeah.
If I would have started trickling investing in freaking dividends, $100 a month when I was, younger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just
that's
so
the kind
many
of shit.
Things. Yeah.
That's the kind of shit that I want people to take away from the Toast of the Weird, not as financial advice, but as maybe I should really refocus my energy into who won the latest sports ball game and to what companies are actually killing it right now. Because Nvidia was awesome. It was awesome. They made their money. They did their split. And now they're just going to I feel they're going to ride that coattail. They're going to keep producing what they produce, which is awesome microchips for the AI.
No, they jumped up thousands or whatever, how many hundreds of some percent. I think they're going to level off. I was waiting for mine to go times 10. It was a little greedy.
Yeah.
It's like times 7 or times 8 right now. But exactly, perfect. And again, too, with that disclaimer, I wonder what we could legally be held accountable for as pointing someone in the wrong financial direction by saying, I believe for financial advice, you should invest. That's pretty open, broad spectrum. I mean, you don't have to have a license to tell someone to invest, right?
Yeah, I guess. Well, if we're
I'm curious. This is a question. This is not me giving advice. This is me asking legally, questioning in hyperbole.
Yeah, I'm sure if we were sitting here and you're like, well, I have $30,000 to invest. What should I invest in? And I was like, put it all on black. Go down to the casino, put it all on black, spin the roulette, and just hope and pray. Then I would be liable because that's bullshit advice.
Well, again, I think really what it is someone holds you liable when they fuck up. No one holds you liable when they make money and try to sue you.
Right?
No, and it's like, this guy gave me great financial advice and I made a bunch of money. He's accountable for that. Okay. I fucked up my own shit and I listened to someone else and fucked up my own money. And now I want to sue him because I feel bad. That's really what that means to me. Like, well, you followed the fucking advice, didn't you? Like, what? Yeah. Like, I guess that's the whole term of people need to understand what a fiduciary actually is.
Yes.
Because if you take from someone's like legally responsibility to make you money versus someone who's like, yeah, I got some knowledge, it may win, it may not. I don't know. You're going to pay me though. Like a old term stockbroker, because they don't make commission like they used to, right? Because the whole free stock buying and trading now for people and all.
Robinhood came out and they changed the business model. So yes, if you want to understand that, just look at the Robinhood business model. Yeah, because instead of taking money on the front end, they take it on the back end from the people making the trades.
You know, so either way. And then, so I believe legally we can get away with saying you should invest in dividend stocks. I didn't say Coke. I didn't say Kodak.
You didn't say look into the dividend kings and see what you can afford. Oh, yeah, that comes up. Our buddy.
An aristocrat. Those are cool. Yeah.
Our buddy, Wall Street Trapper. Right? I love that guy. Look him up. I love that dude. And yes, there is key to what you're saying about beating the drum and saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again.
Well, it's not that. Just giving general advice. Like if your 20-year-old self right now, you can get legally charged for giving you wrong information, but again, the advice of, hey, you should invest in something. This is what a dividend is. Pick which one you want, because that's your legal responsibility.
Well, there's different kinds of dividends that you should look into.
Telling someone to get a dividend stock when they're fucking younger, I think is smart.
Get a dividend stock, have it drip, and there you go.
Like, dude, talk about that drip right now, son. You're talking about that drip. Let me tell you about drip. Nice, Papa Wyrd.
Let's see that fit, bro. Let's see that fit on that drip.
That's awesome. Yeah, seriously. 20 years, $100 a day, 7% interest.
Yeah. And then to explain to people the power of compounding interest, they don't understand the power of compounding interest, which is another thing that people should look into, because after a while, oh man, we just went down a weird ass rabbit hole right now. Not financial advice might be the title of this episode.
Not legal financial advice.
Not legal financial advice. We are not legally
financial advisors. Let me give you some legal financial advice.
All right.
Joking.
Are you familiar with the rule of 72? I think it's the rule of 72.
There's a lot of numbers and rules, so what is this one?
This is for financial literacy. I'll put it that way.
Ooh, I like it.
This is for financial literacy. So you're familiar with compounding interest, right?
Uh-huh.
What is the rule of 72?
No clue.
You have no idea? Really? Like, honestly, or are you just wanting me to talk about that because we're on the podcast?
It's very possible. Little column A, mostly column B.
So the rule of 72 is you multiply the interest rate that you are going to earn on your money by 72, and it tells you, that number tells you how long it's going to take for that stuff to double. Like,
give me an example.
Okay, so do you have access to your stocks right now? We'll just go off of that. I'm going to verify that it's called the rule of 72 and not the rule of 75 real quick. Just fact check myself live pre-recorded.
Here's my portfolio.
Yeah, it's the doubling time. All right, cool.
Okay.
So go to something that pays you a percentage, right? Like your dividend percent, whatever that is, whatever that percentage is. We're doing it live. This would be awesome to just like have somebody on the screen.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Okay, so this is going to tell you how many years it's going to take for your number to double. So multiply the interest rate by 72 and then tell me that in years.
Well, let's just do Apple. Apple's a dividend stock. So Apple gives 0.46% dividend. All right, so two steps backwards. What now? You said take the money I've invested.
So take that percentage that you just said.
Okay.
And multiply it by 72.
Okay, perfect.
That's going to be huge.
33.12.
So it's going to take you 33.12 years to have that dividend double. Does that make sense? I see that sour look on your face. Like 0.042 is not really good. Apple is an amazing company though, so we're not taking into account the growth of the stock, because generally stocks grow over time.
Yeah,
that's been proven. We're speaking facts here. That grows over time. And then, is it a dividend king? I'm not familiar with Apple.
Oh,
does it?
No, they have. Well, I mean, I have no idea, but their dividend was way on the low end. I don't think any dividend king is below like 4% or something.
I know, but they have a growth. Is Apple a dividend king? No.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
No. It's not. So, okay. So when you look at a stock that pays dividends, I mean, yeah, buying what you know, buying what you're comfortable, and all that other good stuff. You want to look at the growth of the dividend over the period of time and the growth of the actual stock over time. Right now, in June, end of June, early July 2024, right now, I'm going to timestamp that. There's a lot of the dividend kings that have taken a hit. So they're on sale right now. It's a fire sale, as it were. All right, let's
choose Main Street Capital. They have a 5.56%. That's more realistic, I want to say.
So multiply that 5.5% by 72.
Times 72. Well, it's 400. Why is it bigger now?
I don't know.
It's going to take 400 years.
Something.
Should I have divided it instead of times it?
Well, I just moved on to a different stock.
He's like, I just moved on.
No, I moved on to a different stock that I was going to do the math on to see how well that is. Rule of 72. All right.
Okay, I think that makes more sense. If I take it and divide it, it's going to take me 12.94 years. That feels.
Investors can use the rule of 72 to see how many years it will take to cut in half their purchasing power due to inflation. What?
Oh, okay. You're doing it all wrong.
Wow, that's even darker, dude. Investors can use the rule of 72 to see how many years it will take to cut in half their purchasing power due to inflation. For example, if inflation is around 8%, as during the middle of 2022, you can divide by 72 the rate of inflation to get 9 years until the purchasing power of your money is reduced by 50%. So what is that? What are they saying? You can divide 72. So if you multiply by 72, so, oh God, that's depressing. Oh my God, that's depressing.
That is depressing.
Being dyslexic and mathing, that's super depressing. So not only are you going to have enough money saved up to double your money in 9 years, you're going to have to be able to get some percentage on top of that 8% to even come out on top a little bit. Wow. I just learned something right now. Holy crappo. That's crazy.
That's crazy. I mean, numbers. Anyway, kids, don't get lost. Compounding interest.
That's why economics is a weapon. That's why they keep printing money. That's why they keep just like, hey, you get $1,000 and you get $500. Everybody gets $2,000. Yay! Because I was thinking about this the other day. I may have like a $40,000-$50,000 a year job, but it feels like I have $20,000. You know.
Well.
$20,000 a year job after it's all said and done.
Everything being paid to everyone else and everything. Absolutely. It's just, I hate to, we go back to that trope, but yeah, modern day slavery, everyone's just, hey, instead of me making you do all this stuff, you're going to do it for this wage that you're just going to give right back to me.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
And there's some, I don't know, man. There's some merit to Dave Ramsey. And there's some merit to Robert Kiyosaki, right?
You have to play in both worlds. You cannot just... What it is you need to be smart enough not to have bad debt You need to know how to stay financially stable so you can utilize debt.
Yes, and it's not buying a new TV on credit.
Exactly.
Those are the kind of decisions where Dave Ramsey really comes forward, and I love that. Do not buy a new TV on credit. But Robert Kiyosaki, on the other hand, is like, yes, you want to buy real estate,
you buy that apartment complex on credit. Absolutely.
If you can, though, we've been in this crazy world. It's a crazy world.
I think it's just playing at the housing level versus playing at the industrial level, and on top of that, I'm watching all the house porn. I don't see too much difference. Unless you're talking about the medium household.
House corn.
Yeah. When I'm talking about house porn, I mean, you're talking about anything. Yeah, corn, house corn, growing corn, house corn. Anyway, anything that's like 500,000 or more, it just looks like you're playing in a different level with different people and different roles. Yeah, shit doesn't fluctuate as much. They're different, qualifications. I mean, so, for example, going in on a property by yourself, on a regular person is extremely complicated and all that other shit. However, getting together and having your collective friends and family buy it through a business.
Yeah.
Totally different. Totally
it is very
separate.
Different.
So because all of you are members of this fucking trust and this trust owns the property. Well, now it's on business, sir. No, now it's a business line of credit. Totally different.
That's a different level of the game than we're trying to teach right now, in my opinion. In my opinion, this is more geared towards the working guy who wakes up, puts his boots on, goes into the...
It just depends on what level you're at.
Every single day. It
depends on what level you're at. And again, with that, too, that person, after so much time, they're going to have to get more information from us. But again, too, just hearing the term land trust, knowing that you do not gift your children your property directly, that you go through those steps.
Yes.
And having that kind of process and the idea of paying your children as employees instead of giving them an allowance, you using your property to rent out as a business expense for every family gathering you have and charging each of your members of family an exorbitant amount of fee that they won't pay that the business does that you get to write off at the end of the fucking year.
This is a perfect time for a commercial. Please buy a Toast of the Weird t-shirt so that way my children can remain employed in our family business.
Some of that stuff, I'm just like, wow. I mean, honestly, at a certain point, you are behind if you don't have some sort of LLC doing something for you.
Yeah, well, it's all that education. It is literally all that education. If you only have been educated to get up, go to work, come home, go to sleep, get up, go to work, come home, go to sleep, and do that, but your work is a W-2.
Exactly.
For sure, you are going to spin your wheels in the mud just trying to barely keep your head afloat, and you will have to use some consumer debt at some point. The system is rigged against you. Unless you're able to put away 10, 20%, and you have that, what Ramsey has as a safety net, which I don't think is a safety net nowadays. He's like, you have $1,000 in the bank.
I subscribe to the 1 to 3 months of expenses.
I enjoy that too. Like, I like having that $1,000 build up in case of emergency, but I also like to have 3 to 5 months of living expenses in a high yield savings account.
I think it's all about the steps.
Super emergencies.
What step level you're at.
Baby steps. Yeah, weird.
Well, not just that, but at a certain level of income and things are going well. I wouldn't want just 3 months of disposable, bill income. I'd want 12 months. So it just depends on where you're at. And even then too, hey, I'm not at the level yet where you guys are at, but I've got 2 weeks. I got 2 weeks saved up. I saved my 1,000. Step 1. Step 2 is getting up to that.
For a lot of people, it's just getting out of the month. A lot of people, it's just getting out of the month too.
Getting that cycle of one paycheck. Yeah. One $400 expense will ruin your life. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people are going into these traps, these payday lenders. Dude, a lot of people, and they get caught up in those payday lenders where they actually need the money, but they can't work extra because of X, Y, and Z, whatever the reason.
Balloon payments, and I love how
and they're paying 50, 60, 70% on those payday loans. That's a fucking crime, but it's totally legal.
It's what it is they're the ones who signed up for that because the only option available that they thought, because again too, how many people think about before they max out credit cards that, hey, you know what? I should have just got a 16% $5,000 fucking personal loan instead of paying 25% interest rate on the $5,000 on my credit card.
Yep.
People don't think that.
Nope.
I don't want a loan. You have a fucking loan. Yep. You are paying off a fucking loan. What are you talking about? Yeah.
And it's the I want it now mentality. It's like I'm in the store staring at it. I want it right now as well. And I don't want to put in 3 to 5 months worth of saving for that item. I want it now.
Well, there's that. But again, too, it's fine. Take us right now. Clean credit, you know, good card, whatever. I want that big purchase right now. I can't necessarily afford it. Cool, I got it. But what do I do with it afterwards? I'm going to save for it, get that interest back down off, or since I just made that purchase, it's right there and I wanted it now, cool. It's $1,000. Excellent. Now I'm going to go get a personal loan for $1,000 or $1,500 that pays just, you know, what is the math I work on? I'm paying $50 a month in, you know, fees for that $1,000, let's just say. I go take out a loan for $1,500 that cost me $40. So now I made $500 off the same amount of money I was actually going to be spending, paid off the credit card. Over your head?
Yeah, you just went over my head. I'm going to get debt, make money, and go over the debt. I don't to pay off the debt.
Well, okay. Well, let me put it to you this way. Let's use a car expense, for example.
I'm about to use my personal
expense. Have to use my credit card to $1,000, you know, car fucking expense or whatever, right?
Okay.
So the next thing I would do is turn right around, since I needed that right then and there. Couldn't wait for a loan or whatever financial options. Now, instead of paying any interest on that, take out a loan, personal loan that has better interest rate for leaving a little bit more money than you were planning on, hypothetically. You pay less money on that money because you had less interest, and now you walked away with $600 if that's what you're dead set on doing.
Yeah, but you still have to pay that $600 back with the interest on that personal loan.
Exactly. So there's just different options. What I'm saying is people don't have the options.
That's the kind of
do is just take that $1,000, pay it back off, and just pay less interest.
That's the kind of juggling I do not condone for myself personally. So, all right, I just had to go through all of this because, you know,
it's kind of like actually a micro version of what Robert Kiyosaki talked about. Because he talked about how he just made money on refinancing one of his loans.
Yeah.
So, for example, you know, he had a $60 million loan or whatever. He was paying, you know, 7% interest on it. You know, $1,200 or whatever, $12,000 payment. Refinanced it for $70 million. Dropped his interest payment from 5% to 3%, and his payment went from $12,000 to $10,000. So he actually made money. He walked away with $10 million, paying less per month, simply off of an interest rate change.
Yeah, okay. That's the kind of example that I was going to say, because I just went through something like that where I was like, my average credit card debt was about 22%. Okay. The price of the money that I was using, right? So I went shopping around for a personal loan to consolidate all of that, because some of the credit cards were at 28%, some of them were at 25%, and one of them was at 10%. And they're like, why would you get rid of that 10% loan? Well, let me tell you, because after my payment, then they'd apply the interest. And I thought that was backwards, and I was stuck at a certain level for the past 3 months. So anyway, that's a topic for a different story. So I consolidated all of this, right? And now instead of paying, I'll just say like $540, I'm paying $490, and I've saved myself $50 a month, hypothetically, in interest. Now, what I do with that $50 is between me and my credit card companies, but that's not the thing that I thought you were going for. I thought you were like, I thought you were just like
same track, but I'm going to take it 2 steps different. So what I'm thinking about doing, and again, what I've done before, is I've got 4 credit cards, varying interest payments, let's just say 23%, whatever, at least 20%, right? On average of all of it, 20% for that money.
Sounds about right.
4 different freaking, you know, payments per month.
Yes.
$650, 19,000 some change, right?
Okay.
20 grand. I can take a personal loan out for $29,000 after their service fees and etc. Have $27,500, paying $34 more per month for an additional $8,000.
Okay, I still see it as trying to juggle knives where is no handle and every side of that knife is sharp. Yes, you might get lucky and you might be able to avoid the blades, but eventually you're going to get cut.
Again, too, you need to be cautious enough to run your own numbers and see where you're at. Because I was at the same point where if I took less money, just consolidated my loan for $20,000, I could make $800, whatever, right? And a little difference because you can only get a certain amount, say you're going over or whatever. So yeah, I could make $800 and pay $70 less per month.
Okay.
Cool. So now all my stuff is, consolidated, but the $100 difference, what could I do with $8,000 in the next 12 months? That's the catch.
But you see, you have to, what's the new interest rate on the loan?
16.9.
So in order
97%.
In order for this to make any sense whatsoever, you have to invest that $8,000 at 17% and above for it to actually, hammer out.
There's that part. There's that. But what I did, just like you, is I took the same amount of money I was using, maybe increased it a minuscule amount per month, $34.
All right.
And now that person has some liquidity, equity, breathing room of $8K. It's all just about it's the Robert Kiyosaki thing, except for my payment went up a little bit.
I get that, and I don't get that at the same time. Why would you do that? See, this is where I differ from Robert Kiyosaki. He's like, debt, no, there's no tax on debt. That's great. There is no tax on debt. That's fan-fucking-tastic. There are no taxes aside. Great. Awesome. But your personal liability, your personal payments to the debt obligation is where I have a huge issue from. And I would rather be cash positive than in debt trying to just play catch up. But that's my mentality.
Well, what I did, and again, too, it's all considering, sure, I will pay 17% interest on that money, but I took my overall money that I took, let's just say interest payment period, right? Sticking where you're at, plan A.
Okay.
The amount of interest I would have been paying anyway is less now than it would have been.
Okay, so your total payment is less.
Well, my total amount due that I would give to someone with interest and all that shit on each credit card, the amount due is way less than the interest I'm paying on the additional 8K.
Yes, and I'm at that step with you. I understand. I'm saving myself on average, so I have 2% in interest.
And I'm saving way interest. I'm saving the amount of money I would be paying. So really what it is at this point is you get nervous because, well, you're paying 17% for that extra money. Absolutely. Absolutely. Why? Because I just avoided, in one simple move, the top things that bother all low-income people.
But you really haven't. You're not. Okay. You don't have a cushion, is what I'm trying to get.
No, I do have a cushion. I'll tell you why, and you'll make sense. It's because I just got a promotion. I will be making another 20 grand in the next 12 months at least. Okay. So I just took that in advance.
Okay.
So I don't have to stress.
You did just take that in advance.
Okay, I did.
To stress about it later is the thing. That bill's going to come due one way or another.
Oh, it comes due every month. It's just now instead of paying off 20-some% interest, I'm paying only 17%.
And that makes sense. Therein lies our differences. There's where our philosophies differ. Because I'm paying about 16% on my consolidation, right?
I'm paying 16%.
And I'm not paying $50 less on my payment. I am paying that same money anyway towards that debt because that debt will be paid off faster when I do that.
You save $50 a month in your monthly expenses.
Yes, but I'm using that $50 towards the debt liability that I have so that way I pay it off faster. Mm-hmm. So that way I'm out of debt, free and clear. I'm a proponent for debt-free life. You're over there like, I'm going to play the debt game forever, literally forever, bro.
No, it really depends on, again, what you're doing with it. For example, my credit increased by getting debt from my vehicle because you have to have a mixture of certain loans and etc.
Yeah.
The concept is getting your debt to income over a certain ratio, not living above your means, utilizing debt effectively.
Okay.
Those are the three things. So if I turn right around with the 8K I'd be making and bought 2 assault rifles, a big screen TV, a big bag of cocaine, and took a week off worth of work, absolutely, completely worth waste of my time. However, having that 8K sitting there, knowing that if something were to come up, I'd rather pay $34 a month for it now than if something were to come up and arise that I need $2,000 on the spot.
And then you end up paying 25%, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's all right. That. So what it is also is we need to consider mental stress versus financial health.
That's fair. You know, you don't want to be stressing out about the
slightly increasing my, financial health, just a little bit. Again, to me, literally $34. Again, it's a minuscule amount. It is literally 1 point something % of my net income. And I'm like, okay, one less lunch. Got it.
One less lunch or 2 working hours for that peace of mind.
No, again, per month. It's all exactly. So I am taking off the peace of mind a little bit. I'm still working the same amount. I can move off that pleasure somewhere and not even notice because you should be buckling down and making your own food anyway. So
yes, let's take this breathing room aspect. Okay, so you're in debt that $34. Something came up, you're in debt that $34. You're paying that $34 towards your debt, correct?
Okay.
Let's flip the script. What if you took that $34 now and started investing it in a dividend stock?
How long would it take me to earn $8,000?
$8,000? That depends.
So that again, really depends. Trading time now, time later, and on top of it, knowing the financial health I'm going to be able to grasp now in the next 90 days versus the next 9 months.
See, this is where I think that the debt is bad, though. So we got $34 in liabilities versus $34 in assets. Because you can always borrow against your assets, and if your ass goes over tea kettle, you can sell those assets and pay off the debt. Whereas
where the number comes into play for me too is I could have sold my stock and made money free and clear, tax no nothing or whatever. But really, what it is, and I guess is another missing part, is I don't want to sell that.
Yes, exactly.
So I would rather.
So you could take a loan against your asset too. Yeah, this is why financial literacy is a fucking weapon, bro.
Could I have it my small amount? Because you can only do those financial trickeries when you have so much. Like, for example, you need, 2,000 shares in something to, I can't remember what the fuck. There's all kinds of shit you can do, but you need so much money, so much loan.
Yeah, but that doesn't start until you start investing in it.
Well,
like going back to our 20-year-old selves. Your 20-year-old self, would you tell your 20-year-old self to pay $34 to a financial institution? Or would you tell your 20-year-old self to pay $34 towards your future for right now?
Knowing everything, I would have said both. I would have done both. I 100% would have said both. I would have said, don't close this. Think about where your money goes. Because in all honesty, I'd rather push myself to the point where I'm investing so much I can't afford to eat out. They're like, what do you mean you're so broke? You can't go eat Red Lobster. Don't you have all the... Yeah, because all my money goes to the most responsible factors. I think I should push myself to the beans and rice, never eating out lifestyle, but that's not going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
It's to the point of how much you can push yourself. So again, thinking of saving $70 or spending $34, what would be the difference?
I'd rather save $70. I'd rather have that $70 making 0.04% interest
I just
for me.
Sell my stock. There's a point where I needed some money kicking around right now, and I don't want to sell that. It was coming up to. Fair. Now it's like, I think I'd rather just pay a little bit. Plus, that's going through the debt consolidation, just taking everything I needed and saving $70 or
do what's right for you and how you feel comfortable. If you feel comfortable having $8,000 on debt just floating around in your bank account, making 0.3% interest,
actually
do that.
Just going to look into something I haven't done before, because the amount of time it takes you to move around, say, stocks and etc., and they are very volatile.
Yeah.
Bonds, good 4 or 5% better than an interest rate. Maybe taking, this is what my thought was. Because the way Hermosi talked about, he's like, cash and bonds are basically the same thing. As like government's more, secure than a bank is. They give you whatever percent. It's so easy to liquidate.
Yeah.
So my thought is keeping 1, perhaps 2 of the months that you have for the 3-month leeway in a bond. So this way, again, by the time you burn through your first month, you'd be able to get those 2 months back, and it's making etc. And you're putting your eggs in different baskets. Not only do you have stocks and bonds. Not only do you have stocks and bonds, you have angel investing. Not only that, but you have dividends, you know.
Mm-hmm. Debt is a necessary evil, and there are so many different financial tools, so many different ways to pay bills, buy fancy things, buy not fancy things, be able to eat out at Red Lobster, whatever the case may be. And it really all boils down to what an individual is comfortable with. You're comfortable having that $8,000 cushion. I'm not really comfortable having an $8,000 cushion that I owe, that I'm going to have to pay back. So in matters, the consumer is always right in matters of taste. Whatever you want to eat, you want to eat the debt, by all means, eat the debt if that's where you're comfortable at. If you're not, if you're debt adverse, do everything you can to get yourself out of debt and be cash flow positive. That way you're not working for somebody else. That's my mentality. I'm not going to work to pay some schmo $34 on $8,000. That's my mentality. That's where I'm comfortable at.
But yet, a month and a half ago, you were perfectly fine paying however many people X amount of money.
Well, obviously I wasn't, because I went and I consolidated my loans to pay one motherfucker X amount of money.
Well, again, too, how long were you running all that for?
Too long.
See,
to be fair.
Again, too, it all depends on the long game, the short game. I'm serious. How much interest you want to pay? Because the way, and this is why I would also think about what I'm doing too, is now that I'm able to wipe out all of my cards, going to utilize them like you should use a credit card for monthly expenses, paying it off in full with no interest, reaping all the benefits of that, will pay at the end of the year 3.5 times what I would be paying on my extra $34.
And that's because you educated yourself about that debt, and you can utilize it in that manner. I'm saying for the layperson just starting out,
it just depends on where they're at. Because trying to get someone to understand the concept 2% extra money by using a credit card is like talking in Greek to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just like, what? Oh, I'm not supposed to use a card. What? No, I don't pay it off every month. What are you talking about? What? Like,
okay,
I never got it. The benefits. So, yeah, 2%. Yeah, 2%. Papa Weird. Whatever. Sure.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up with this little story. Okay. I was scrolling through the shorts, as one does on the video short clips. Pick your favorite platform, and there was a woman talking to her child, and the child didn't understand why she had to pay her Amex card. Sorry, Amex, I'm picking on you. Why she had to pay her Amex card back, because she already purchased the item. She didn't understand credit. Yeah. And I don't think the mom understood credit either, because I personally would not give my daughter a credit card to just go all ham on willy-nilly. But that daughter was under the impression that because she already purchased the item, it was already paid for, regardless of the fact that it was a credit card. So yeah, you do have to pay that back. You're literally borrowing money to pay it back. And if that's the financial literacy where some people are at, of course they're not going to understand the credit card game with the 2.3% or the, whatever the rewards are. If you're not paying that back, okay, you will pay. If you do not pay it back per month the way that you're doing, you are going to pay 22% for that credit card debt amount. The 2% that you got back is to get you to spend that money.
And you only get that when you pay off what you already borrowed. Exactly.
So if you're not paying off what you already borrowed, you're paying 20% on your debt instead of 22% on your debt, because that's the way that I use my rewards. I'm just like, go, pay this much, off on my bill.
Yep.
That's the way I use it, because, why not?
If you're paying off a purchase versus paying off a deliberate purchase, utilizing like the first $900 some I got when I did that. I made a big purchase that I wanted, not some shit I needed. Like it was everyday stuff.
Yeah.
So I was able to pay for something extra.
Yeah, so I guess the where we're sitting at this podcast, we're debating like, maybe 6 level wizard spells when, maybe some people are still at level 0. They're just like, what is this RPG called life that I have to participate with? So,
but but being around that information is what will hopefully get people to look into it, because really what it boils down to is one simple concept. You can use this card and you'll make money, but if you use your debit card, you're just paying money.
Yes.
Is really what it boils down to, is the simple fact that swipe, make one step by paying this card off every month.
But that's if you're using it responsibly. And that's where you got to get weird and control your own destiny. You have to be able to have the wherewithal to be able to pay your credit card debt before the billing date. Not this, or before the statement date, not the billing date.
Exactly.
You got to get on that, and that's that. We just
they tell you
totally financial with this.
If you look
episode.
at it, when they start charging you interest.
Yeah.
All
right. Do you got anything else to say before my phone overheats and restarts? And we lost. Oh, there we are. We haven't lost shit. Cool.
Awesome.
All right, keep it weird, odd ways, do your own research, and yes, financial literacy is the backbone for you to be able to control your own destiny. I wholeheartedly believe that. And even though we have differing opinions on debt, there is no wrong way as long as you are like keeping your head above water. As long as you're on this side of the dirt, there's no wrong way. Hell yeah. All right.
Nice.
Like, subscribe, share, and if you only do one of those things, share us with a friend. Thank you.